Hi everyone and welcome back. The key to building any great professional looking iOS app is to make our strings and text look absolutely beautiful, and Apple really helps us out here. One of the key tools we have for formatting text in a variety of different ways is something called the NSAttributedString. Let's look at a couple of examples to see how these work. NSAttributedStrings are a dictionary of font-like properties that we can set and use when we're constructing and styling our strings. For example, if we wanted to style this fancy looking $8 per month signature, just look at the amount of formatting that's going on here. You've got a $sign floating near the top. You've got an 8 with a very large font size. You then have another font size for some more string here. And then finally you have this number 1 raised and elevated. And NSAttributedStrings let us do all of this. The way it works basically is you define a dictionary of properties styling each of the individual values you'd like to appear in the string, and then you combine them all together to give the final format. So for example, to get this $sign format here, we can create a dictionary where the key would be font, and then we set the preferred font style we would like, in this case, callout, with a baseline offset of 8. That means it's going to be raised 8. We can then set price attributes, month attributes, term attributes, and specify the corresponding fonts and sizes we like for all the different elements in the string, just by setting them as key value pairs in a dictionary. Then we take all of these and we create what's called an NSMutableAttributedString, which means we apply the text along with the attributes we'd like to be applied for each text. So in the case of the $sign, we like the $sign attributes. In case of the 8, the price, and so on and so on. And then we finally combine these by appending all the strings together, and then we can set them on whatever control we like. Note in this case of the label, we don't go label.text, we go label.attributedText, and that's how we take that string and apply it to the label. We can also do things with paragraphs. If we wanted to build a paragraph and say bold the text within the paragraph, we could do that like this too. Using NSAttributedStrings, we could build up plain text, bold text attributes, combine those and apply those to the text we want to see, and then finally also apply it to the label. And you can even get it to work with images. You can combine text with images by again setting the properties in the string, adding the image you'd like, and even altering the position of the image so it can be offset up, down, left, or right, however you desire. So that in a nutshell is how NSAttributedStrings work. Let's go back to our app now and see if we can style out this really nice looking temperature label here. Okay, so let's just scroll down to where we actually set the text on that temperature label, which is right here. And here you can see we're hard coding it to that 15 degrees Celsius. And what we really want is something a little bit more fancy, something that's going to do an attributed string with some larger font size like this and just a really nice style. Let's go ahead and see how we can do that now. The first thing to note is that we're not going to set the result of our function, which I'm going to show you in a second, on text. We are going to set the attributed string property on the label. That's what attributed strings get set against. So just make sure to note that we're not actually going to use the text. We're setting the attributed text on it. Next, let me just show you the function here, make temperature text with temperature here. And I'll show you how this function works and how it's going to build our attributed string for us. For our attributed string, there's really just two properties we need to set. One is we need to set the bold attributes for this text here, which is going to be the weather. And secondly, we just need some plain text here for the degree and the Celsius. So the way we're going to do that is first we'll set up our bold text attributes. So here we're creating a dictionary of key value pairs, and then we're setting properties on the attributed text. So here we're going to set the foreground of this bold to be UI color label. Then we're going to set the font to be a specific bold system font of size 100. That's going to govern this bold text here. For the plain text, then we just repeat the process, but for the other attributes for plain text. Here we're just going to set the font to be something of size 80. It's going to be a little bit smaller. And then we just need to take these attributes and combine them and apply them to the text that we want to style. So in the case for the bold, we're going to apply that to the temperature string that we pass in here. And in the case of the plain text, we're going to apply it to the degree Celsius here. And we're just going to take the result of the bold, append the plain text, and then return this in our function as an NSAttributedString, which we can then set right here. So if we run this, let's take a look and see what this looks like. There we've got our nice style text. We did this all in one label. It looks beautiful, and this is a really nice, elegant way to style text, and you're going to use this a lot in your apps because text formatting is really important, and a lot of people want to see that in their apps. Okay, good stuff. With that, we now have a great looking view. Everything is laid out. All we need now is a little bit of functionality to get this thing actually fetching the weather. In the next section, we're going to dive into probably what is one of the most common patterns seen in UIKit, something called protocol delegate. We're going to dive into the protocol delegate pattern. You're going to see how we can leverage it not only in UIKit, but how we can use it ourselves when writing code to build our applications. And I can't wait to jump in there and show you how this exciting, really cool pattern works. Okay, good work, everyone. We'll see you in the next section.